As January approaches, some everyday grocery products are expected to see sharp price hikes. These increases are driven by economic shifts, weather events, and disruptions in global supply chains. Let's dive into 8 key products likely to become more expensive and why they might just be worth their weight in gold. 1. Bread and wheat-based products. Bread, pasta, and other wheat-based staples are facing significant price pressures. The global wheat market is at a turning point as we enter 2025. While the Food and Agriculture Organization reported record wheat production of 784.02 million metric tons, rising global consumption is tightening supply. This means that even with abundant harvests, the demand is outpacing production in many areas. In the U.S., wheat futures are holding steady at approximately $5.34 per bushel. However, these prices reflect a delicate balance between domestic needs and international market dynamics. Meanwhile, Europe, a major wheat producer, is grappling with a 9% drop in output compared to last year, primarily due to poor weather. This decrease brings their forecasted output to just 122.6 million metric tons, a dip that's rippling across global supply chains. Adding to the challenge, rising costs for fertilizer and energy are making wheat production more expensive. These costs are ultimately passed down to consumers, leading to pricier bread and pasta. For example, Egypt, one of the largest wheat importers, has raised the cost of subsidized bread by 300% to manage soaring expenses. Such adjustments highlight how bread affordability is becoming a global concern. Looking ahead, the USDA predicts a 1.6% rise in food prices for 2025, including essential wheat-based products. With geopolitical tensions and fluctuating trade conditions adding to the mix, bread and similar goods are likely to remain high in demand and value as prices climb. 2. Coffee. For coffee lovers, the news isn't much better. The global coffee market is grappling with intense volatility, leading to steep price hikes. Arabica coffee futures have soared to $3.23 per pound, levels unseen since the late 1970s. The primary culprit? A severe drought in Brazil, the world's largest coffee producer, which has drastically reduced crop yields. The story is similar for Robusta coffee, used in many instant blends. Futures hit a peak of $5,829 per metric ton earlier this year, driven by poor weather in Vietnam and Indonesia, two of the largest Robusta producers. The El Niño weather pattern has worsened these issues, creating a 3-year supply deficit on a global scale. Adding to the pressure, European importers are scrambling to comply with strict deforestation regulations that require proof their coffee imports are sustainably sourced. These regulations, while environmentally necessary, are further tightening supply chains and pushing up costs. In the U.S., the USDA forecasts a 1.6% rise in food prices for 2025, which includes coffee. Consumers are already noticing higher prices for their favorite drinks, with cafes and retailers adjusting their prices to reflect soaring procurement costs. While analysts expect coffee prices to stabilize somewhat as new supplies enter the market, they're unlikely to drop significantly. Ongoing supply chain disruptions, regulatory changes, and unpredictable weather patterns mean coffee prices will remain high for the foreseeable future. 3. Orange juice. Orange juice prices are soaring to unprecedented levels, and the challenges behind this spike are many. Brazil, the world's largest orange juice producer, is facing its smallest crop in 35 years, with production plummeting by 25%. Severe drought, the worst in 5 decades, has left crops struggling, and the devastating citrus greening disease has affected nearly 40% of Brazil's orange trees, further slashing yields. Florida, once the second largest orange producer globally, has also seen catastrophic declines. Over the past 2 decades, Florida's orange production has dropped by a staggering 92%. Natural disasters like Hurricane Milton have wreaked havoc on citrus groves, causing massive fruit losses right before harvest season. As a result, wholesale orange juice prices have skyrocketed to over $6,500 per ton, more than double last year's $3,000. Retail prices are following suit, with some brands hiking costs by over 34%. Even major players like Tropicana are struggling to absorb the financial hit, passing the burden directly to consumers. To combat shortages, manufacturers are experimenting with alternatives like mandarin oranges. But these stopgap measures fail to address the broader supply crisis. Countries reliant on Brazilian orange juice concentrate, such as Australia, are seeing projected price increases of at least 20%. This is pushing consumers to shift toward lower content fruit drinks or entirely different beverage options. Demand for orange juice is expected to drop by 15 to 25% as prices climb beyond reach for many households. Unfortunately, the persistent threat of citrus greening disease and unpredictable weather patterns suggest that orange juice production may not recover for years. Experts warn that these factors will keep prices elevated, leaving little hope for relief anytime soon. 4. Sugar. The global sugar market is under significant strain, with prices climbing sharply and supplies dwindling. India, the world's second-largest sugar producer, has reported a 35% drop in production over the past few months. Delayed harvests and unfavorable weather in key regions, like Maharashtra and Karnataka, have contributed to this decline. In response, India is unlikely to allow export quotas this season, further tightening the global sugar supply. The situation in Cuba is even more dire. Once a leader in global sugar production, Cuba's industry is now crumbling under a lack of resources. Limited access to fuel, fertilizers, and machinery has led to an all-time low in production. Many of the country's sugar mills have ceased operations, widening the gap in global supply. Even Brazil, the largest sugar exporter, is struggling. Widespread droughts and destructive fires in the center-south region have disrupted harvests, leading to lower than expected yields. These setbacks have pushed sugar futures to over 22 cents per pound, a level not seen in years. Meanwhile, global demand for sugar continues to rise, especially in emerging markets, outpacing production by over 3 million metric tons this season. This imbalance is becoming increasingly apparent in the United States, where domestic sugar stocks are rapidly shrinking. The USDA has revised the country's sugar stock-to-use ratio downward, signaling tighter supplies and inevitable price hikes. Retailers and manufacturers are already adjusting prices, with consumers noticing the pinch not just on raw sugar, but also on sugar-based products like candies, baked goods, and soft drinks. Extreme weather conditions, including droughts and heat waves, are expected to persist, further hampering recovery in key sugar-producing regions. With sugar crops requiring years to rebound from such damage, this market volatility isn't going away anytime soon. Combined with rising global demand, regulatory changes, and economic pressures, sugar and sugar-based products are poised to remain costly for the foreseeable future. 5. Cooking oils. The global cooking oil market is undergoing significant changes due to shifting agricultural trends and economic factors. In the United States, domestic farmers are grappling with an influx of imported used cooking oil, particularly from China. These cheaper imports are undercutting investments in American-grown crops intended for low-carbon fuels, as outlined in recent climate legislation. The resulting surplus has driven soybean oil prices downward, prompting agricultural groups to push for policy reforms that prioritize locally sourced produce. In India, farmers are adapting their planting strategies to cope with rising temperatures. Despite favorable market prices, many are moving away from heat-sensitive crops, like rapeseed and mustard, opting instead for wheat and potatoes. This shift is expected to reduce rapeseed cultivation by about 10% compared to last year, increasing India's reliance on imported cooking oils like palm, soybean, and sunflower oil to meet domestic demand. Meanwhile, the European Union anticipates a strong recovery in olive oil production for the 2024 to 2025 season. Spain, which faced devastating droughts in recent years, is on track to produce 2 million metric tons of olive oil, a 31% increase from the previous season and 9% above the 5-year average. Favorable spring rains have boosted yields, but it remains unclear if consumers who switched to cheaper alternatives like sunflower oil during price spikes will return to olive oil. Consumption in the EU is expected to rise by 7%, recovering from a 22% drop over the past 2 years, with prices likely easing as supply stabilizes. In the U.S., however, olive oil prices remain steep, with some bottles costing as much as $12.39. Producers like Diolio, known for brands like Bertolli and Carbonell, anticipate a 50% price drop as European harvests recover, possibly between November and January, if weather conditions hold steady. Innovation is also reshaping the cooking oil market. High-profile chefs are experimenting with sustainable oils made from microalgae and fermentation processes. These eco-friendly oils require fewer resources to produce, offer a neutral flavor, and are already being used in renowned restaurants like 11 Madison Park. Though they face challenges with scaling and cost, ongoing research and positive feedback suggest a bright future for these alternatives. In India, the robust demand for cooking oils is driving profits for major producers. Companies like Adani Wilmar reported a 21% rise in second quarter profits, largely fueled by their flagship product, Ruchi Gold Oil. Despite higher import duties, rural demand for edible oils has outpaced urban sales, underscoring the resilience of this market segment. 6. Dairy products. The U.S. dairy industry is navigating a complex and evolving market shaped by fluctuating production levels, changing consumer habits, and economic pressures. As of mid-2024, the average price for dairy cows surged to approximately $2,500 per head, up from $1,900 the previous year, signaling increased demand and other economic factors. However, the total number of dairy cows declined by 40,000 in August 2024 compared to the same period in 2023, reflecting industry-wide consolidation. Milk production for 2024 is projected to reach 226 billion pounds, a slight increase from earlier forecasts. Yet, profitability challenges remain, as the all-milk price forecast has been lowered to $22.75 per hundredweight. This dip is influenced by factors like high inventory levels and fluctuating market prices. Cheese, however, is a bright spot in the dairy market, with projections showing significant growth. Between 2024 and 2028, the cheese market is expected to expand by $38.8 billion, driven by its rising popularity in diverse cuisines and the integration of AI in market strategies. Despite this growth, the industry faces challenges in international trade, particularly concerning reduced import demand from China and uncertainties tied to upcoming corn and soybean harvests. Butter prices have reached unprecedented levels, posing difficulties for both consumers and bakers. In Europe, butter prices have soared to $8,876 per metric ton, an 83% increase from the previous year, due to tight stocks, strong demand, and a shift among dairy processors toward cheese production. In the U.S., butter prices are also climbing, with expectations of continued high costs into 2025. While analysts predict eventual relief as production ramps up, significant price drops may take several months. Adding to the uncertainty, the expiration of the U.S. Farm Bill on September 30th, 2024, has left many agricultural programs in limbo. The lapse poses risks to key initiatives supporting the dairy sector, creating an unpredictable environment for farmers and producers. The U.S. dairy industry is also teetering on the edge of what some analysts call a dairy cliff. Without timely legislative action to renew agricultural programs, dairy prices could skyrocket in 2025, leaving consumers to face higher food costs and limited access to essential nutrition programs. This looming crisis underscores the urgency for policymakers to address industry needs and stabilize the market. Environmental concerns are another pressing challenge. Agriculture, particularly cattle farming, is a significant contributor to global methane emissions, accounting for 40% of the total. This has sparked calls for sustainable solutions such as improved herd management, selective breeding, and innovative technologies to reduce emissions. Some companies, like Danone, have pledged substantial cuts to their methane output, setting a benchmark for the industry. However, others face criticism for failing to establish clear targets, highlighting the need for more comprehensive strategies. Shifting consumer preferences are further reshaping the dairy landscape. To promote sustainable food choices, companies like Starbucks have removed the extra charges for plant-based milks in their U.S. and Canadian stores. This move not only caters to environmentally conscious consumers, but also sets a potential industry standard, encouraging the normalization of plant-based options and driving more sustainable consumption habits. Despite these challenges, the U.S. dairy market is poised for steady growth, projected to expand from $117.08 billion in 2024 to $126.80 billion by 2029, with a compound annual growth rate, CAGR, of 3.44%. This growth is fueled by robust demand for dairy products domestically and internationally. However, sustaining this trajectory will require the industry to address fluctuating milk prices, environmental impacts, and rapidly evolving consumer expectations. 7. Canned goods. The global canned goods market is experiencing steady growth, driven by the rising demand for convenient and long-lasting food options. Analysts predict the industry will surpass $19 billion in value by 2029, with a compound annual growth rate, CAGR, exceeding 4%. This growth stems from urbanization, changing dietary habits, and advancements in preservation technology, which improve the quality and variety of canned products. Canned fruits and vegetables remain household staples, offering year-round access to nutritious produce. Similarly, canned proteins like fish and meat have gained popularity due to their extended shelf life and ease of use in meal preparation. Ready-to-eat canned meals are especially appealing to busy urban populations, further accelerating market expansion. The rise of online shopping platforms has also played a significant role in increasing consumer access to a broader range of canned goods. However, the market is not without its challenges. Supply chain disruptions, including labor shortages, fluctuating consumer demand, and logistical delays, have impacted the availability and pricing of canned products. In some regions, material shortages, such as aluminum for cans, have driven up production costs, affecting retail prices. Moreover, competition from imports poses a threat to local canning industries. Domestic farmers are feeling the pressure as canning companies turn to cheaper imported goods, sparking concerns about the sustainability of local agriculture. This has led to calls for government intervention to protect domestic production and ensure food security. Innovation is reshaping the canned goods sector, with companies diversifying into categories like canned beverages, including pre-mixed cocktails, to meet consumer demands for convenience and novelty. Additionally, manufacturers are investing in sustainable packaging solutions to align with environmental standards and consumer preferences for eco-friendly products. Despite these hurdles, the canned goods market is well positioned for continued growth. Innovation, adaptability, and the ongoing demand for convenient and reliable food options will ensure that canned goods remain a vital component of global food systems. 8. Rice is a cornerstone of global food security, with the market projected to grow from $376.54 billion in 2024 to $436.30 billion by 2029, at a compound annual growth rate of 3%. Cultivated in over 120 countries, rice is integral to feeding the world, with China and India together accounting for about half of global production. In 2023, global rice production reached an estimated 52.9 million metric tons. China led with 21.4 million tons, followed by India with 177.1 million tons. Other major producers include Indonesia, Bangladesh, Vietnam, and Thailand. Despite high production levels, certain regions, such as sub-Saharan Africa, face challenges in meeting domestic demand, resulting in significant import needs. Global rice trade is influenced by domestic policies and shifting demand. For example, India, the world's largest rice exporter, recently removed the floor price for non-basmati white rice exports to support farmers and enhance competitiveness. Meanwhile, Indonesia is expanding its farmland by 3 million hectares to reduce its reliance on imports and aim for food self-sufficiency. Technological advancements and sustainable farming practices are transforming rice production. Innovations such as drought-resistant rice varieties and precision agriculture techniques are helping farmers address challenges like water scarcity and climate change. These advancements are critical for maintaining productivity and ensuring the resilience of rice cultivation systems. Consumer preferences are also evolving, with increasing demand for diverse rice varieties, including aromatic and specialty types. This shift is encouraging producers to broaden their offerings, to cater to changing tastes and dietary needs. Furthermore, the growing interest in organic and sustainably produced rice reflects a broader trend of consumer awareness regarding environmental and health considerations. As global demand for rice continues to rise, innovation and sustainability will play pivotal roles in shaping the future of this essential crop, ensuring it remains a cornerstone of food security worldwide.